All right, so we all seen Stranger Things 5, right? It's your boy Rashad, by the way. Season finale. I gotta rewatch it, bro. I gotta rewatch. Like there's this is a fan theory ending, bro. What we just watched was all an illusion, right? Anyway, my feelings hurt. Um, the secret ending you missed why Hawkins actually lost.
The Stranger Things ending was a lie. That what we saw 18 months later is a complete fabrication hiding the show's real ending. A real ending that paints the fate of Hawkins in a far more grim and horrific way. I want you to keep your mind open as we delve into this crazy theory.
This is just a theory, right?
One that recontextualizes everything we saw in the finale. But before we get there, first let's take a look at the ending they want you to believe is true. One that contains little clues that what we're seeing is actually part of a larger psychic con with us, the viewer, as its primary victim. At a surface level, the ending of Stranger Things is extremely safe. In fact, it's almost too safe. This is what had my spider senses tingling. We have this
Why the Spider-Man pose, bro? That's crazy.
clean ending where the bad guy is defeated, the kids are rescued, and a whopping 40-minute epilogue where all our characters are given their perfect endings. Lucas and Max are together, and Max has regained the ability to walk. We'll see her.
All right, look.
And a whopping 40-minute epilogue where all our characters are given their perfect endings. Lucas and Max.
Out of everybody in the show, these two deserve being. Think about it, bro. Think about it, bro. I'm just saying, if season 4 is the best season, it's because of Max. And what is the closest thing? Who is the closest person to Max? Lucas. They deserve this, bro. You can kill off anybody else. Don't kill Steve. Don't kill Dustin. But you can kill off anybody else, bro. I'm sorry. Lucas and Max deserve a happy ending, bro. No cap, bro.
Are together and Max has regained the ability to walk. We'll see her skateboarding, a reference to when we saw her.
What is skateboarding? Am I tripping?
Where all our characters are given
Am
their
I
perfect
tripping?
endings. Lucas and Max are together and Max has regained the ability to walk. We'll see her skateboarding, a reference to when we saw her first in season 2. Dustin is valedictorian, best friends with Steve again, and continues on to university. Will moves to the big city where he finds community and acceptance.
That's supposed to be his boyfriend already. Is Will Byers a whore? My bad.
Hopper proposes to Joyce.
This was
Claire
cute
gets
too.
to say suck my fat one again, but who I want to focus on is Mike. Even though he's lost 11 and you may think his ending is kinda sad, I argue it's one filled with hope. He learns from Hopper to accept Elle's decision, even if he doesn't understand it, watches as a new generation is instilled with a love for D&D and adventure, but more importantly, holds on to a theory that 11 is still alive. In his mind, 11.
By the way, that's Iceland, where 11 is walking. So that means they went to Iceland from the States. They went to Iceland just for that one scene. Why would you do that? See, when I first saw it, I'm thinking, oh, she made Dimension X into a paradise now instead of a demonic realm. You know what I mean? But that is actually Iceland that she's walking in. You know, walking around with the waterfall and all that. That's Iceland. Why would they do that? Think about it. Why would they do that?
Faked her death in order to save the others. She knew that no matter what, as long as she was alive, the
Nosebleed.
military would stop at nothing, even killing her friends to find her. Faking
But he missed that shot too. Just my theory.
her death was the ultimate sacrifice so that her friends could live in peace. Mike has created a scenario that justifies Eleven's actions but allows him to move on with a sense of hope. It's this first scenario, however, that opens the door to this wild theory. It builds off Colley's creation of an illusion. If Colley created an illusion of Elle dying as the real Elle escaped, who's to say that this entire epilogue isn't an illusion as well? An illusion orchestrated by the hive mind that hijacks our deepest desires to create a false fairy tale ending. Hear me out. Remember that Vecna doesn't want to destroy Earth. He wants to reshape it. Earth is to become an extension of the Mind Flayer's reality. And what better way to conquer this new world than by lulling its citizens into a false sense of security, a gilded cage in which on the outside everything seems perfect, but in reality a sinister being controls everything. It's basically the core villain mechanic of A Wrinkle in Time. This book has been right in our faces the entire season. In fact, episode 506 is titled Escape from Camazotz.
Yep.
Camazotz is the name of the planet afflicted by this illusion, where everyone is forced to live in perfect sameness. This is controlled by a powerful intelligence known as It, often depicted as a giant brain who controls people's minds by overriding individuality and free will. Our It in Stranger Things is the Mind Flayer. In the final episode, it's revealed that Henry Creel, who would later become Vecna, wasn't as in control of the Mind Flayer and its particles as originally thought. In fact, the scientist warns young Henry that the object in this briefcase won't just consume him, it will consume all. The Duffer Brothers purposely left it up to interpretation on who controls who, but in my opinion, it's quite clear. The Mind Flayer controls Henry. In fact, as Will points out, Henry's been nothing but a vessel for the Mind Flayer this entire time. It chose Henry Creel because he was weak, a boy afflicted by vast trauma, just like Henry chose Will because he was weak. The irony is beautifully tragic, and the Mind Flayer is uniquely set up to be able to pull off this type of illusion. Its combination of abilities from mind control, memory access, and hive mind communication make it the perfect entity to lull humanity into a false sense of security. This is certainly...
Yo, it's crazy. This is no different than Kaguya from Naruto. Madara, whatever you want to say. He get everybody trapped, and everybody gets to live out their dream, their life dream scenario. Do y'all remember that? I don't remember the name of it. It's not the. Is it the Infinite Tsukiyomi? Something like that. It's the same exact thing Vecna had going on. And a lot of fans in Naruto was thinking like, bro, what if Boruto's just one Infinite Tsukiyomi? Or whatever it's called, man. My bad, y'all. Planetary Devastation, whatever it is. So we can apply this here too. He might be right. He could be right. Everything in season 5 is an illusion.
Far cleaner to pull off than launching some sort of large-scale invasion. This psychic con tactic, as I like to call it, aligns with its own views on humanity. Humans are weak, so they can be domesticated. Humans are messy, so he's replacing their world with order. It also aligns with its God complex. And let's not forget, the very nature of a hive mind isn't annihilation, but assimilation. This leads me to my next point. Even though Vecna died, the hive didn't. In the finale, 11 impales Vecna, and Joyce finishes him off with about 20 chops to the head. I also found it a bit odd that this impalement kills him, yet when he came out in episode 4, bullets didn't even harm him, and he could regenerate instantly. This is
well, he got impaled by another superpowered being. So it force, bullets. Yes, they have force, but he has multiple vines before you can even get to his flesh in front of him. So that makes sense. 11 being another powered being, forcing his body into the impalement makes sense.
Exactly what the Mind Flayer wants. It creates this false sense of security that the danger is over and done with. By killing Vecna, they haven't killed the real threat. They've only killed one element of a giant hive mind. This hive mind is insanely resilient. We've seen how a part of it still lives in Will, how it corrupted Henry, and God knows what its effects will have on the 12 kids who were pumped with Mind Flayer particles. For all we know, they're little Trojan horses, or vessels one might say, bringing the Mind Flayer particles back to our world. After all, our heroes may have destroyed the bridge to the abyss, but not necessarily the infection. It's
Yeah, man. This is crazy.
perfect dream world that the hive mind has created also helps explain many of the show's unanswered questions. Think of these as being glitches in the Matrix. You might have seen a few of these discussed on Twitter in the days leading up to the finale that hinted at something being off in the world. For example, there's Milkshake Gate. Fans clocked Will's line about malted milkshakes at Melvold's, stating that it clashes with how Melvold's is portrayed in the show. There's never milkshakes there. But the first Shadow play, which is set in 1959, reportedly shows Melvold's used to sell milkshakes back in Henry's time, which makes it feel like a memory bleed. It suggests that the hive mind is cross-contaminating memory with reality. But there are smaller little inconsistencies, like why did this dial here change from red to gray? Why did the military leave Hawkins with no repercussions for any of our characters? I'm pretty sure Nancy literally murdered a few members of the military.
Yeah, for
Yet
sure.
they pack up and no one is held accountable for what happened. What happened to all those innocent pregnant women in the Upside Down? A show that spends this long.
Carly literally has a gun in her hand. If she really wants this experiment to end, I definitely always thought in this scene that she just put those pregnant women into, put them out of their misery. Also, this specific pregnant woman looks like Carly. We ain't gonna get into it though, but I noticed that too. This specific pregnant woman looks like Carly. It's uncanny.
On showing the cost of these experiments doesn't just stop caring unless the ending is designed to anesthetize you. And what about Dr. K, one of the most evil people in the entire
She
show's
needed to die.
5-season run? She simply disappears. The finale is also called The Right Side Up. It's literally an inverse horror of the Upside Down. Whereas the Upside Down is this dark, frozen wasteland where dreams go to die, this new Right Side Up is the opposite. There our heroes live in an illusion of dreamlike perfection. So in my mind, there are two ways to perceive this finale. On the one hand, we have a show where the writers played it safe, gave everyone a happy ending, but in doing so amassed a wealth of plot holes that simply don't make sense.
I agree.
Or you can believe this theory, that the world has fallen to the Mind Flayer, trapping them into a fake reality where humanity can live out its days in a false peace as the Mind Flayer slowly takes over our world. At the end of the day, Mike's final speech states that we'll never really know the truth to this ending, but what we can do is to choose to believe whatever ending we want. But now I turn it over to you. Does this theory have any merit? I want to hear your thoughts and theories in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe.
So in a way, you lose or you lose. But I mean, I don't know, man. My theory is this, bro. Netflix fails one day, and they tell Millie Bobby Brown, Joe Keery, all these guys, hey, y'all motherfuckers better come back to Netflix, nigga. I don't give a fuck what project y'all working on. Y'all niggas better come back to Netflix, nigga. Yeah, we doing season 6, or we're doing some type of, maybe it go from Stranger Things to Montauk. Joyce and Hopper was talking about going to Montauk. The show is based off the Montauk experience, the experiment that they was doing on actual people in real life. So maybe it's called Montauk, the continuation or some shit like that. I would love a season 6. I would love a Stranger Things something. Um, but we ain't gonna get that for a couple years. I know all these guys can go their separate ways and get into other projects, and guess what? They got my money. Okay, I was just watching Millie Bobby Brown playing a movie about robots and shit. Wasn't she Sherlock Holmes' daughter or something? I seen it all from Millie Bobby, right? So y'all got my money. Where does Joe Keery? I mean, well, Joe Keery makes music, so I'm listening to him. Jonathan, actor, also makes music. So yeah, like wherever they go, they got me, man. They got me. But at some point they gonna have to come back together. They can make it like it, um, and bring everybody back together as they get older and actually use the actual cast. But yeah, bro, like some of this is too good to be true. Some endings make sense, some endings don't. Some deaths make sense, some deaths don't. The people who needed to die don't always die. The people who don't need to die dies. It's kind of crazy. At the end of the day, like Harper said, bro, do you accept it or not? Do you accept it or not? But I will leave off on this note. The sonic waves make the supernatural kids fall to their knees every time that it's on. 11 wasn't bleeding. She didn't have her 001 tattoo on her arm. And she didn't fall to the floor. Seems like an illusion to me. But even if that's so, how did Mike get to speak to 11? She went in his mind while being an illusion? It's a lot of things that need to be answered, but hey, man, Stranger Things is one of my favorite shows of all time, bro. It's probably always gonna be. Um, Peace, love, prosperity. I'll see y'all on the next one, man.